Welcome to another Q&A lecture. This is for the month of May 2022, and the question for today's lecture comes from Robin. And if you don't know, guys, this is our series in this Udemy course where we pick one of your questions. Fantastic questions. All of the questions I get is amazing, and I try to answer all of them to my best of the knowledge and obviously time. But for those questions that need some more time, I dedicate a lecture, like this. So this comes from Robin Srivasta. Let's read it and discuss. Index on column with duplicate values. I absolutely love that when you guys watch my lectures and then start thinking about these cases, because they are real world cases, right? I never mentioned anything about duplicate values, but this comes to you, right? As you think about it. So let's talk about it. And this is how you basically, you see yourself evolve, right? As you ask these questions, that means you're penetrating and you're breaking these walls, the confusion and everything, right? So let's read the question. If you are creating an index on column which can have duplicate values, so it's a non-unique index, right? Then how is it stored in the index data structure? Does it maintain a key with a name as duplicate values, a list of rows, or corresponding page information? Here's what I want you to think. So this is for Robin and everyone here, really. Right? So question, I don't think we need this screen anymore. So let's go back to this and just talk through. And excuse my hair. I need a haircut. So the moment you find yourself thinking about how is it implemented, don't worry too much about that. What does that mean? It means that if you find a way yourself, like, don't worry about how big companies do it. It's like everyone makes mistakes. Everyone implements something and then finds out that it's not really efficient, right? So you provided ways here to solve this problem. Work it out yourself. If you think these are optimized and they are fine, this is an implementation. There is no wrong and right. Yeah, there is one implementation that could lead to wrong results, and that's obviously not applicable, but there's implementation that is more efficient than the other. So that being said, I don't want you guys to worry about much. It's like, oh, if Postgres do it this way, this is the right way. If MySQL this is the right way. No, not at all. From my 20 years of experience, what I have been seeing is always, I've been worrying about, if someone else implemented something that must be better than my idea. No. As you gain more experience, of course, if you're new to the course, you're going to stumble upon things that you've never seen before. You might have ideas, but they might be shut down because you still don't have exploded knowledge. But the more knowledge you get, the more confident you become about your implementation. I think I got on the tangent, but I think it's a little bit valuable here to talk about. But so the index duplicate value. So let's start with this. If you have a column, right? I don't know, gender, right? What are the values in the gender column? Right? Male, female, unspecified. You don't want it to specified, or you can have a little bit of a spectrum there based on what you want the data model to be. But let's say you have three values. Right? The moment you have these three values, right? If you have 100 million rows, indexing that column becomes useless. Like, think about it, right? Adding an index on that becomes really, if you're just searching for, all male who watches their certain shows, right? For example, or females who watches this certain show, like building a system, something, right? To gain experience. Indexing that column, just that, becomes really useless, because remember, there's something called index selectivity. So index selectivity means you want the index to give you as small a result as possible. So if you index this and I don't know, like 99% of the value is the same, then it's pointless, right? Because it didn't reduce your result set. It's not selective enough. And that's something to worry about. So that's one thing to have worry about. But sometimes there's duplicate values regardless, right? But there's like more selectivity. Like, so there's a bunch of duplicate values, like say categories, like a movie show category, right? Then that has more variety, right? So the values becomes duplicated, sure, but they won't be as dense as like if you have 2 or 3 distinct values. Does that make sense? That being said, you can combine that index with other things to make it more selective. Like if you have other indexes by itself, that's what I mean by itself. It would be useless if you have a lot of duplicate values with very distinct, small distinct values. So the solution here, now I'm going to answer Robert's question. Again, I felt that whatever I said is like kind of relevant to this. That's why I mentioned it. So to have duplicate values, let's say I'm indexing column. And let's think about something like, I don't know, product code, right? And you have like 10 codes, right? So different products will have the same codes, obviously, right? Like, oh, this is not unique. This is like a code as a category, I mean. Right? So code 0, code 1, code 3, code 4, up to code 10. So let's say we have 10 products with the same code 0. So if you index product code, then how does the index look like? Without being smart. How do we do it today in the B3 leaf, right? Again, you have to watch the B3 lectures to understand this. But what we're going to do is the key becomes the code, right? So code 0. And then the value becomes the row, right? So let's say row 1. Depends, this is a primary key or a secondary key. The value will be either a pointer to the primary key, so there will be a primary key of the row, or it'll be a pointer to the row itself, if it's like in case of Postgres, right? If it's a secondary key, or if it's a primary key that you're looking at now, primary key cannot be unique, so forget about that. So yeah, so it would be the code and the row itself, right? The row ID, which is like 32 bits. It depends on the size of the row. And yeah, if it's primary key, then it's going to be like the key, primary key. That's why you have to be careful. What is your primary key here? Because it will be duplicated, right? In this case. So code 0 becomes this, right? This value, row 1, right? Let's say. And then code 0 again is row 2. And code 0 is row 3. And code 0 is row 4. And code 0 is row 5. And code 0. So that's how we're going to do it. Right? Obviously, if you think about it, you just duplicated the value 0 many times. So if you're indexing a 32-bit integer, that's 32 bits, 32 bit, 32 bit, 32 bit in the index. So the index will be bloated, right? So that's what we have today, right? As a naive implementation, if you will. Only, right? This was implemented for the longest time. It's only recently when Postgres, I think Postgres 13 implemented something called the deduplication in the B3 index. So that what they did is they deduplicated this. So that in case of doing 0, row 1, 0, row 2, 0, row 3, they would put 0 and then a specific array of all the rows effectively that points to that, right? Or based on what Robin suggested, okay, let's put just the page information, right? That's what he suggested, right? Let's just put the page information, and then we can filter that when we go to the page, right? That's another implementation. So you can do any implementation as long as it, as you work it out and then kind of measure the value here. It really depends. But all comes back to what the user wants, what the DBA actually doing. Why are you indexing value? So if you're indexing something with a lot of duplicates, really think about it really hard. What value does this give you? Test it, do the explain. We've done thousands, of these lectures. Thousands. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But we did a lot, right? Talking about this. Always test, add an index, see, does the explain give you a better access path, right? It's all, at the end of the day, trial and error, thinking about, okay, yeah, well, the theory is sound. My use case might not be, might not fit this case. And that's basically what I'm going to leave it at. Hope you enjoyed this lecture. I'm going to see you on the next one. Enjoy the course.